Hello my friends, so I'm back to record this wrap-up of January, the first month of 2022, already gone. I've read 10 books, but I'm not going to talk about the 10 books, just a few of them. A few that I actually had introduced in a previous video that I will link up there, so I'm not going to talk a lot about them, but at least tell you if I enjoy them and you know how I feel now about them. So there's no specific order, not the most favorite one, just books. So the first one was Andreï Guelassimov, La Soif. So this book was translated into English, The Thirst, or Thirst, just Thirst, I think in English. It's a Russian author, and the main character is a young man who actually was a soldier in Chechnya, came back from the war with his face, how do you say, maimed, you know, and he was hurt badly. And now he's just staying inside, drinking vodka all day long and, you know, depressed. He believes his life is over and he wants, you know, just to die drinking vodka. But his friends from the army come back to pick him up, and because they're missing one of their friends, closest friends, Seryoja, who has gone missing, and then they go into this journey to find him in Moscow, in all the places where he was seen. And this trip is going to bring him back to life, open his eyes, and he's gonna see the world again. And I love this character. I love the writing. It's fluid, it's nice, it's well written. It's a very short book, but a great one. I really enjoyed it. I finished it thinking it's a good book, definitely. So I know he's written more novels and I want to read, of course, the next ones. But this one is really good. So if you can just, you know, read it, get a hold of it, do it. Good book. Another book which was different this time because it's non-fiction. It's Evguenia Iaroslasvskaïa-Markon. So I talked about it in my previous video. So it's a memoir, a short memoir she wrote in Gulag. She was arrested by the Soviet government and she was actually executed, and she was only 29 years old. And it's her story in her own words. So you learn about our story. You have a sort of explanation, and at the end you have actually the court papers telling why she was executed. And the French title is Révoltée, and that's a good summary for Evgenia's life, very short life. She was born into a very bourgeois Jewish family. Father was actually a famous Jewish professor at university. She grew up wealthy, but she decided just to get rid of this life and start a new one. She really believed in the Soviet revolution, getting rid of the Tsars and everything. She thought that, you know, she was an anarchist, I think. So she thought that, you know, everything would be different and better. But what happened was, you know, Stalin and a new authoritarian regime, and she fought it. Okay. She went to live in the streets. She learned to steal. She became actually a theft. She was arrested for stealing a few times. She married a poet, an anarchist too. They actually fled to France, but they came back. She lost both her feet, yes, in a train accident. It's a crazy life, a very short one, but during the, I would say 10 years, or I think it was from the age of 17 till 29, she lived like 1,000 lives. So yes, I'm not sure it's translated into English. I couldn't find one. It's available in Spanish if you speak Spanish, and it's a short memoir, but she was in Gulag, and you know, getting the papers and getting pencil was not easy at that time. So yeah, very unique life for a very unique woman. And then a novel, this time by a South Korean author, I cannot pronounce the name. Okay, I'm going to ruin it. Untold Night and Day is the title. I've seen that book. I can't remember where, but my sister bought it from me for Christmas, and it's a beautiful book. It's an unusual story. It's during this summer in Seoul. It's a very hot summer, and this young woman is lost. She's just lost her job at a theater. She doesn't know what to do with her own life, and then someone asks her to pick up an Austrian writer at the airport. But at the same time, she goes to have dinner with her former boss, and things just get very strange. She loses her sense of reality. She doesn't know if she's in reality or if it's a dream. And yourself, the reader, is actually in the same situation. You start meeting people who have the same patterns, the same clothes, the same health or physical attributes, and you wonder why you keep meeting them. The author is trying, I think, to lose you. And this very strange atmosphere really works. You get really confused and yourself. So you have to let it go. You have to accept that. I think it can really disturb readers if you're really down to earth, if you don't want to be lost. Like David Lynch's movies, you might not like it at all, but I did. I wasn't sure, but I did. I really enjoyed it. She wrote more books, but it's always the same story, the same atmosphere, the same loss of reality. Daisy Johnson wrote, I love this book. I love its uncanny beauty, its startling occurrences. As it unravels, you feel, if only a little, yourself unraveling too. And she said, she wrote an Ancient Triumph, which I think it's true. It's compelling. It's like a dream, and it's really hot that night. So yes, you have to let yourself, be taken away and transported to that very unusual night in Seoul. It's a beautiful book, beautiful experience as a reader. So yes, I'm glad my sister brought it for me. Thank you. Another one is actually a French author, Elisa du Sapin, Hiver à Sochko. That's in French. It was translated into English, Winter in Sochko, and I've seen it on the English-speaking, Instagram or bookstagrams or blogs, and it's actually getting a little bit of success. It was a success when it came out in France in 2016, I think, but I didn't read it at that time. I was not interested, and then I saw it, popping up again on the English, literary world, and I thought I should read it. So it's a very short book as well. It's not my cup of tea. So I read it, I liked it, but that's it. Okay. It's about this young Korean woman. She lives in South Korea, but at the border of North Korea. She's a young adult. She doesn't really know what to do with her life. Her father was French, but never left her when when her mother was pregnant. I think they never actually met or anything like that. Not sure if she actually knows his name, because her mother keeps it to herself. But the character is half French, half Korean, and she learned French on her own. And then one day she meets this French writer. He's looking for inspiration, and they meet and they talk, and that's it. I'm not selling that book really well. It's an atmospheric book. It's winter, in the north of South Korea. Sochko is actually summer beach resort, but during the winter nothing's going on. Very quiet, very subtle, nothing much happens. Was nice, but you know, that's it. But if you want to read it, read it. And the last three books. Well, actually, I really enjoyed them. I like really the first book I showed you. This one is Rouge. It's from a Croatian author, Jurica Pavičić. The Red Water. It tells the story of this young woman, Silva. She's 17 years old. It's 1989 in September, and she lives on the Croatian coast of the Adriatic Sea, and she lives with her family and her twin brother. And one night she goes to a party, and she flirts with a boy who is not her boyfriend actually that night. And the next day she goes missing, and it's not a thriller. It was actually kind of sold as a thriller, but it's not at all. It's really a book about the absence. What happened to her? Where did she go? Was she kidnapped? Did she leave on her own because she took her backpack with her passport? So, so many questions. And it's about the impact on her family, how this family that was a close-knit family is going to dissolve. They're all going to, react in their own ways, the father, the mother, and the twin brother. The twin brother is going to make promise to his mom to look for Silva, and he will be looking for her. And of course, you're only 2 years before the Croatian ex-Yugoslavia's war. So the war is coming. Police stops looking for Silva, and years go by. And the family just dissolves, the links between the family members, the parents, even the brother. It's hard. You see years, going, and they don't know where Silva is. They had a link, actually, they had, I think a year later or 2 years later, witness saying that they saw Silva at the bus station in Split. So they really think that she's actually, she took a bus to anywhere in Yugoslavia or even to Germany or Italy, they don't know. So yeah, it's about, I think it ends in 2016. So you see, it's a long story. It's beautifully written. The characters are really very well, described. Especially the brother, but even the mother and the father. You understand each one's reactions to to the missing girl. You also see how it can not destroy lives, but stop people living normal life. And yes, they're always expecting to hear from her again, to have some news about her. It's a great book. I was surprised by the end. It's divided into 3 parts, and the first line of the first chapter of the third part will stick with me a long time. It's a beautiful book. So yes. It's a Crvena voda in Croatian, but I'm not sure if it was translated into English. I think he is translated into English. His name is Jurica Pavičić. So yes, great book. And oh yes, my tags. I was looking for them. See all the tags? That's the work of E.M Forster for Howardson. So the classic. I've been wanting to reread Forster's works. I studied Forster at university a long time ago, and I really enjoyed his work, but I hadn't had the chance to read him again. So I had actually 2 copies of this book, but not this beautiful copy. I still have them. I think I still own one of them. I probably gave the other one away because I studied it in university, and at that time, or a little bit later, the movie came out, and I really enjoyed the movie as well. But the book is great. So I was used to read, you know, Jane Austen or Charlotte Bronte's or George Eliot or Elizabeth Gaskell. Of course, their works belong to another century. He wrote that book in 1910, so it's only 100 years and 10 years, you know, old. And his style is very different from the style, you know, the classics I had been reading. So it took me a little bit, you know, a little bit time to get used to it, but after I really enjoyed it. And his reflections on the social classes, on the British social system, are very strong in that book. It's a story about, you know, two sisters living in London, and they are wealthy enough, you know, not to have to work. They can leave and go to the opera and just enjoy their time. And one day they meet first a family, wealthy as they are, the Wilcox, and then they meet a young man, Leonard Bast. He's a simple bank, you know, clerk, and but he's from, you know, the different world, a lower social class, and they want to help him, but help, pity, you know, it's all about this story and how these women are trying their best, but at the same time they're stuck in their own world, in their own class, and sometimes they don't really realize what they're doing. Of course, you have a character that, you know, comes and just enlightens them, but yeah, it's a strong story, and I want to read all the other books that he wrote, Forster wrote. It's still pertinent today, you know. So, and the last one, because I'm trying to be really succinct, I don't know how you say it in English, and, you know, to get really fast, because I don't want my video to last an hour. So the last book, and probably my favorite book, not my favorite though, I'm not sure, Towles, The Lincoln Highway. So do I need to talk about Towles? He's a master, and he's a master of storytelling, and he just proves it again with that book. I loved it, really loved it. If you don't know the story, it's about Emmett and his little brother, Billy, who's 8 years old. We're in Nebraska in 1954. Emmett was sent to a juvenile center because he committed manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter. So he was sent to jail, but he was actually freed because his father passed away, and he had to take care of his little brother. So he goes back to his home, to his farm, and he has decided, you know, to move with his brother to California, because California at that time is booming, and he has plans for his future. His father had left him actually an envelope with $3,000, which was a lot at that time, still is a lot today. And so everything is planned, but surprise, two of his former cellmates have managed, you know, to get to his farm, and Willie and Duchess, both are from New York City, and they ask Emmett to take them to the nearest train station in Lincoln, Nebraska, but nothing goes the way Emmett had planned. Next day, Emmett and his brother are alone in Lincoln. The car is gone with the money in it, and they're on their own. So there's no other choice than, you know, to board a train without any money and to go to New York City to, you know, get the car back and the money back. And it's a beautiful journey. Of course, with Towles, you know, it's a bigger journey, especially in this book. You think about, you know, Mark Twain and Ulysses, because there's Ulysses in that book too. So the journey is, you know, with so many different characters, and you learn about each character so deeply. It's amazing. Each chapter actually has their own narrators. So you have at least four voices all along the book, but you have more at the end. And you're going to learn about their past, what Emmett did, what Duchess, why is he named Duchess? It's a boy, he's 17 years old. Why is Willie so sad? How did they end up, you know, in this juvenile center, so far away from New York City, and you get really close to them, you get really attached to them. I was really mad at Duchess for stealing the car at first, but then I learned about Duchess' story, and it's so well done, so well executed, so beautiful, moving, and the ending is not what I expected. Towles goes really far this time. Yes, I have read this book at the end of 2021 and the beginning of 2022, and it's been a month, and I'm still like, whoo, thinking about these characters and the story. Beautiful job, really. And it's not too, how do you say, we say like, it's not too you know, sad. It's not writing to make you cry, and I actually, I'm not sure I cried. I didn't cry reading that book, but so don't think it's just, you know, that kind of book. It's so well done, so well done. So here, all the books, not all the books, but the few books I wanted to talk about today. I have 3 or 4 books that I haven't talked yet. I probably will make another video soon. I have also ordered and bought more books since last time, and so see you soon. Have a nice weekend, and take care. Bye.